Not just Donald Trump winning the election, but winning the popular vote. First time in 2 decades for a Republican. And how did he do it? He did it by transforming the Republican Party. It is now more diverse than it's ever been in modern times, and certainly much more than when Donald Trump first came on the scene 8 years ago. A lot of ways to look at this. How about this here? When it says pre-Trump, that's the last presidential election before Donald Trump started running. You got to go back to 2012 for that. Remember, 3 straight elections, Trump's been the Republican candidate. So pre-Trump, voters under 30 were going for the Democrats by 23 points. Folks with incomes under 50,000, 22 points for the Democrats. Folks without college degrees, 4 points for the Democrats. That's pre-Trump. What comes out of this election? Look at some of these shifts. The youth vote, that Democratic margin cut more than in half. Voters under 50,000, now a Republican constituency. Voters without a college degree, look at that shift. Now a core Republican constituency. And then we can talk about race, ethnicity. This gets into that diversity I mentioned a minute ago. Check this out. Again, pre-Trump versus...
As you can see, this is no longer the Republican Party of old. Excuse me. This is now a new coalition of blacks, Hispanics, men, young men, young voters, Asians. It's pretty incredible. I know a lot of the independents swung Trump's way. If I'm not mistaken, maybe by 11 points. It could be less, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of those independents were previously Biden voters or previously Democrat voters. And rallied behind Trump because Trump is for the working class. Trump is not afraid to fight fire with fire. As you can see, people are they're struggling now. You know, the economy is not that good in terms of jobs. People have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to afford things. So prices are outrageous. The prices of houses, the housing is pretty crazy as well. And the people that feel that, you know, they're not able to withstand that storm. Those people want to change. And clearly, this is not a racist Nazi cult, as you can see.
Now, the black vote's still overwhelmingly Democratic, but that's a 15-point shift. It used to be 87 points for the Democrats, down to 72. How about this? You've heard a lot about it this week. This is what the numbers look like. Hispanic voters were 44 points Democratic before Donald Trump. Now, basically a toss-up constituency, and Asian Americans, a 32-point shift there as well. That's what's happened to the Republican Party since Donald Trump became its standard bearer 8 years ago. This has been the movement. And meanwhile, for the Democratic Party, the story is the opposite. Pre-Trump versus now. Check out some of these movements. Among white voters, this was a 20-point Republican constituency before Trump. Still a Republican constituency, but a little bit...
This is a little bit fascinating to me because... as you can see, pre-Trump, white was plus 20. It's now plus 16, so he's lost a little bit there. College educated is plus 2 previously, and now it's plus 13, okay? And then the income level of 100,000, more than 100,000, pre-Trump was plus 10, and now it's plus 5 all the way to Democrats. So I'm wondering what is the reasoning behind it.
Less so, and white voters are such a massive share of the electorate, that 4-point shift very meaningful. Again, college-educated voters now a core Democratic constituency. Folks earning more than $100,000 used to be a Republican constituency, now a Democratic constituency. And this gets to, we talk all about the battlegrounds. Trump swept the battlegrounds. But the other big story this week has to do with the popular vote and how Trump pulled that off. Here's one answer. Big blue states with very diverse populations. This new coalition that Donald Trump's assembled, it meant that he didn't win any of these, but he made some giant strides. California, biggest of them all, 29-point Biden win 4 years ago, currently only 18 for Harris, her home state. Look at New York. Basically, Trump cutting that Democratic margin in half. Go down this list and look inside those states and you'll see it. Blue collar areas, cities, metro areas with large Hispanic populations. That's where Trump made his big gains there. We'll land on this one map, one battleground state that I think tells the story of these two coalitions here visually. Let's call up Wisconsin. We know in this election, Wisconsin went to Donald Trump. You're looking at a pre-Trump election because I just want to show you this is what a battleground state like Wisconsin looked like not that long ago. When Barack Obama ran and carried the state over John McCain, look at all the blue here. So many of these are small rural counties with blue collar populations. Barack Obama could sweep almost all these counties. Democrats were competitive here. Take a look at this map, and I'm going to call up what just happened this week. All that blue has become, look at all that.
And that would make sense because larger cities, you know, they have a huge population. You know, New York City's millions of people that live there. LA, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So a large portion of people live there. Democrats have control most of the state, you know, through, you know, for various reasons, but, you know, they control most of the state. There are people within those, you know, within the state that does not agree with the Democrats and Republicans, but they're outnumbered severely. But as you can see, more and more people are getting converted. So this is it's very crazy or very interesting to think about how, you know, in 4 years your beliefs can basically switch, you know, and the reason could be, you know, life hits you in the face, and, you know, if you're not able to afford things, then you start looking for answers and you start looking for, you know, you start looking for reasons. And then once you start to dig in, research, you start to find answers, and then you know what to do.